Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Clothesline Podcast, a wrestling podcast straight from Cologne, Israel. And today we're going to talk about two things. Number one, we're going to review the Survivor Series pay-per-view that happened this past Sunday. And second, I want to give you my thoughts about the whole, let's call it, wave of releases that has been going on in WWE for the past couple of weeks, months, and even a year. When it comes to releasing over 80 superstars from World Wrestling Entertainment. But first things first, let's talk about Survivor Series. So, the pay-per-view was this past Sunday. Once again, the main storyline was brand supremacy. Raw versus SmackDown, champion versus champion. Oh man, I hate it. I just hate it. It doesn't work. It doesn't matter. Why it doesn't work? Because nothing is on the line. It doesn't matter who wins. Now, as much as I wanted to hate this pay-per-view, as much as I wanted to really bite my teeth into it and just rip it apart, this was actually a very good pay-per-view. I enjoyed each and every one of the matches, some more, some less. And if I take away the concept of brand supremacy, if I take away that storyline of Raw versus SmackDown and just look at the matches as they are, as they tell stories by themselves, this is a very good pay-per-view. This is a very good pay-per-view, and I'm here to talk about each and every one of the matches that happened this past Sunday, so let's get right into it. Let's talk about the pre-show. Intercontinental Champion Shinsuke Nakamura taking on the United States Champion Damian Priest. This is one of the matches I was not really, a little bit disappointed with, because Shinsuke Nakamura versus Damian Priest is a money match. And if these two guys had this match, let's just say in New Japan Pro Wrestling or Ring of Honor, this match would have been a whole lot better. It always felt like it stuck on second gear, not the Friends theme song. It could have been a whole lot more than it actually was. It was a decent match. The story of the match was that Rick Boogs keeps playing his guitar on the outside, antagonizing Damian Priest, who warns him, if you do that again, I'm going to break the guitar. And the ending came when he actually broke the guitar and beat up Boogs and Nakamura with it, and he gets disqualified. The booking makes sense. You know, Nakamura wins by disqualification. Damian Priest keeps playing his split personality thing. That actually works. And yeah, so good outcome, but a disappointing match because these two could have given us a whole lot more than they actually did. And I don't think it was their choice. I think it was just the rulings of the powers that be. Moving on to the main show itself. The main show started with a plug-in for Red Notice, a movie with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot. That's right, the name is Gal Gadot. Not Gal Gadot, not Gal Gadot, Gal Gadot. Now, this movie's out on Netflix. I saw it. It was actually, it was kind of, I gotta put this. It was a fun movie that didn't make any sense at all, but it had a really good twist at the end. That's my description for the movie. Like, I watched it. I don't think I'm gonna watch it again, but for what it was fun. So I enjoyed it. Now, one of the biggest stories coming out of Survivor Series is that The Rock wasn't scheduled to appear, but yet they plugged him and Netflix's movie and many of his greatest accomplishments throughout the years in his 25-year career in WWE. Now, it is my understanding that The Rock was scheduled to appear at Survivor Series at one point in time. However, scheduling conflict began with the movies filming right now and also the COVID protocols that prevented him from appearing at Survivor Series. Now, it's understandable and completely logical that he wouldn't be there for these obvious reasons, and that reasons are fair and they make sense. What I'm saying is that if you're going to plug The Rock throughout the event with memories and celebrating his career, couldn't they at least figure out a way for him to do like a video message or something? Just a little bit? If not, you could have celebrated it on a different date. Like, you could have acknowledged it at the beginning and just be done with it, but you plugged it throughout the event. So people had the perception that maybe, just maybe, The Rock would show up. and then he didn't. It wasn't really a deal breaker. It was just weird. Other than that, I did like the whole Red Notice crossover with WWE. I liked the opening promo, and I liked the egg. Yeah, I liked the egg storyline. I thought it was funny. You could disagree with me, but it's just my opinion. I thought it was funny. I thought the culmination of the egg thing on Raw was also funny, and they made money off of it. So whatever. Let's start with the event. First match on the card, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. Now, out of all the matches that were on the card for this pay-per-view, this match I expected the most. For this match, the brand supremacy didn't matter. What mattered was the personal issues between Charlotte and Becky Lynch that emphasized the story between them, emphasized the rivalry. I thought the video package that was done to promote this match was done very well. A very good video package. And this match was awesome. A very good match by two of the very best. And the biggest question was, who would walk out the winner? You could have gone either way. You could have done a draw. But in the end, Becky wins by holding on the ropes. And I thought that was a reasonable conclusion. Because Charlotte could afford to lose this match, it doesn't mean anything. Because this is brand supremacy and it doesn't mean anything. Becky needs the momentum going towards WrestleMania, which I believe will be the event where she loses that championship to someone new. Hopefully Liv Morgan, but you never know. And yeah, this match was good. This match was awesome. The next match was the men's Survivor Series team match between Team Raw and Team SmackDown. Now, if I include the brand supremacy aspect of this match, I hated it. But if I take it away and just look at the match as for what it was, this was, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best booked Survivor Series matches in the history of the event. I am not joking. This match made absolute sense. This match was a booking masterpiece through its pacing, through its logical eliminations. Right from the get-go, you had Kevin Owens start off the match, insisting on starting off the match, only to walk out on his team and on Seth Rollins, and thus completing the story that started a year ago when Rollins abandoned his team, SmackDown, last year with Kevin Owens on that team. That was just brilliant. The double elimination by McIntyre and Lashley completely makes sense because it protected both of them by getting them counted out from the match. The Austin Theory booking of him being one of the last survivors with Seth Rollins also makes sense because it made him look strong. Add to that the surprise elimination of him eliminating Sheamus. And the final two-man, Jeff Hardy for SmackDown, Seth Rollins from Raw. Completely makes sense. The crowd is way behind Jeff Hardy. They wanted him to win. And of course, when Rollins wins, that also makes sense. Just awesome booking. Awesome match decisions. I love this match. And once again, this is one of the best booked Survivor Series matches I have ever seen in the history of this event. Good job. An amazing good job. The next match was the Battle Royal, the 25-man Battle Royal to commemorate The Rock's 25th anniversary, which he doesn't show up, but that doesn't matter. This match was a story told by three aspects. The first one being Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is a sponsor of this match. There was a lot of pizza going on. We saw a funny segment with R-Truth and Otis. Otis reverting back to his good old jolly fun days until he got serious and eliminated R-Truth. The second aspect was that AJ Styles eliminated himself at the beginning of this match and no one said a word. He went over the top rope as the bell rang, went down on the floor and climbed on the announcer's table, and no one called him on it. That irritated me. He was eliminated, but then he got back into the ring And he finally did get eliminated properly, but still he eliminated himself in the beginning. And the third aspect has to be Omos. This match was about Omos. This match was the story to tell us Omos is going to dominate the Royal Rumble. Omos is going to dominate the Royal Rumble. He eliminated 10 men or 11 men all by himself, and he wins this match. Kind of makes sense. I don't think he's going to win the Royal Rumble, but it was a good story device to tell us that Omos is a force to be reckoned with. So, I got no problem with the match. Next up was the tag team match between the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos, taking on the Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro. This was probably the sleeper match of the night. Like, it wasn't a bad match, but I didn't see any interest in watching it. I mean, both teams are good. They're all excellent performers and wrestlers, but there was just something in the match to me that just didn't click. It was a good match, it was a decent match, but it didn't overwhelm me. Still, these are two great tag teams, but I just didn't feel this match. It was a good match, a decent match, but nothing more than that. In the end, RK Bro wins, and if you're keeping score, Raw is 4, SmackDown is 1. But who cares? Does it matter? It doesn't really matter. Because nothing matters. Brand supremacy doesn't matter. The next matchup was the Women's Survivor Series match. And there is a lot to say and talk about this matchup. Now, when I do usually retro reviews of past events with a friend of mine in Hebrew. And some of the events we reviewed were the first editions of the Survivor Series. Now, in those editions, they had the Tag Team Survivor Series match, where all the teams of faces and heels faced off in a Survivor Series match. And those matches went on for almost an hour. That's insane. And you know why the reason it went for an hour? Is because eliminations didn't occur every couple of minutes. There was this blockade, a gap between one of the eliminations until the next one. And this match had the same problem. Now, first of all, I don't like the fact that the crowd completely hijacked the match. They chanted he's AEW and CM Punk and did the wave. That's completely disrespectful. I hate that. But you might say this is to their credit actually. The first elimination happened in the first minute. The second elimination happened after 12 minutes. That is a very long time in Survivor Series standards to do eliminations one after the other. Now, I know you wanted to showcase the women's division. That is fine. That is a very logical reason. I can accept it. I wish it would happen more in WWE programming, that the women get more time in their matches. But in Survivor Series mode, in the world of Survivor Series, you can't have an elimination occur at the first minute and then the next one 12 minutes after. It's a century ahead between one after the other. It's a gap like the ocean. It's a long, long time between eliminations, and it didn't matter if it was the men's or the women's or any other kind of match that was under Survivor Series rules. Eliminations in Survivor Series have to be fast-paced. I'm not saying every 30 seconds, but at least 3, maybe 5 minutes apart. 12 minutes is just way too long. And even though they had good reasoning to give them those 12 minutes to showcase each and every one of the talents in the ring, it didn't matter. It's a long, long time between eliminations when the whole point of the match is to eliminate someone. So I think that was the main reason why people hijacked the match because of this. Because of those 12 minutes. Because after those 12 minutes have gone by, then the eliminations came fast and furious every 3, maybe 4 minutes, which was an okay pace when it comes to Survivor Series. Now, the biggest story of the match is that in the end, it was Bianca, the sole survivor, standing against 4 women for SmackDown. Now, ever since Bianca Belair lost the SmackDown Women's Championship to Becky Lynch in 26 seconds, everybody thought that that's it. That's the end of Bianca Belair's push, and she's not going to find herself again, and she's going to go down the card. This was a message loud and clear saying Bianca's gonna be okay. She is still strong. We're still pushing her because that is the only reason, logical reason I can see of Bianca surpassing and surviving 4 members from the SmackDown women's team. Yes, you could explain the fact that Sasha was being arrogant of trying to boss her team, and then they cost her the match by letting her stay outside the ring while she was counted out. And then she survived against Natalya and Shayna Baszler and Shotzi. But still, Bianca Belair beat 4 women all by herself. That's the story. Because you have to make Bianca look strong. I don't really agree with that booking, but I understand the logic of trying to push Bianca as still a strong contender for the Raw Women's Championship, now held by Becky Lynch. We got a segment backstage with Kayla Braxton once again stalking Paul Heyman, and then she announces that the rumors say that Brock Lesnar's suspension is not indefinite. What does that mean? What kind of an investigative reporter are you? Either it's off or not. What do you mean the rumors say? Is there a concrete report saying that Brock Lesnar's suspension is lifted? Just why address rumors? Rumors are not news. I don't get that. And then we got the main event. WWE Champion Big E versus the Universal Champion Roman Reigns. First of all, big props to Big E and his outfit. Only Big E could come up with an idea to do an outfit with a homage, a tribute to Seinfeld. And he didn't do it just once, he did it twice with 2 different outfits, both tributing Seinfeld. That is awesome. Big E is awesome. Now, as for the match itself, it was good. It was a good match. It didn't blow me away. It wasn't a stellar match. But here's my question. Okay, we get it. Roman Reigns is Thanos. He's a tribal chief. He's the ultimate boss. He's the final chapter. He beats everyone. We get it. But in my opinion, Big E needed this victory even more than Roman Reigns. So why not allow Big E to win the match by disqualification? You don't want Roman to lose by pinfall. Completely understandable. So why not allow Big E to win the match by DQ, thus making him look like a strong champion instead of Roman Reigns beating Big E? What did it give Roman Reigns for beating Big E? Nothing. Because brand supremacy doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Nothing's on the line. So when I saw the ending of this match on this pay-per-view, Roman Reigns won, and that's it. Nothing happens. It didn't matter who won. So why would it matter if Big E would have won by disqualification? I'm just saying Big E deserved this victory even more than Roman Reigns. It didn't do him any favors. And now he has to work even harder to establish himself as a big, credible champion. He's a great champion, don't get me wrong. But I just think that he needed this victory even more to emphasize and establish himself as a great champion. A great champion needs big wins. Roman Reigns has those by the dozen. Big E needed this more. Overall, it was an okay pay-per-view. Like I said, if you take away the elements of Raw versus SmackDown and the brand supremacy stuff, this pay-per-view is a good pay-per-view. If you acknowledge all the brand supremacy stuff, then I hate this pay-per-view. Really, I hate it. Because those things don't matter. They have no consequences. Nobody wins anything. And I just pray and I wish that next year they will abolish this concept once and for all, return the old Survivor Series team names, let's just say the Scottish Warriors versus the Rollins. That's a good band name, the Rollins. The Almighties against the Tribal Chiefs. I don't know, something like that. Because this event was a good pay-per-view to continue feuds and rivalries with different teams and all sorts of stuff. And I think those days can come back again if they give them the opportunity. And just don't do brand supremacy anymore. If you want to do brand supremacy, take one of the minor pay-per-views, turn them into bragging rights, and do it like that. That's just my opinion. So this event gets a 6 out of 10 for me. And now I want to address the releases that occurred in WWE for the past couple of weeks, months, and even this present year. A lot has been said about the releases in WWE. And I've heard and read many comments, many opinions about the reasoning behind these releases. Some of them make sense, some of them don't. People are claiming that WWE is about to go out of business from releasing all these talent because they got nobody left. First of all, let's make one thing clear. WWE is far from bankrupt. They have a lot of money. The last thing they're about to be is bankrupt. Now, as it pertains for the released wrestlers, like some of you, I have the same opinion. I wouldn't release these people because they are all talented people. And like some of you, I believe, would agree with me that creative did them bad. Creative was not in their favor when it came to portraying them to showcasing them on TV. Having said that, I'm a guy that tries to look at the bigger picture, at the entire picture, like on all sides, and then come to a conclusion or an opinion that actually tries to maybe look at reality as it is. And here's my 2 cents into this conversation. First off, let's take a look back a couple of years ago. WWE offers a lot of contracts to a lot of wrestlers to come wrestle for them in order to, quote, cripple the industry. He had a lot of independent wrestlers signing in WWE to evolve their career, you might say, to go to that bigger ball game. And then AEW showed up. And then those people got bigger contracts and raises and more money out of it. Then comes a guy called Nick Khan, who is now the president of WWE. And he looks at the books. And his first question that comes to mind is, Mr. McMahon, Vince, you have around 500 wrestlers, yet you only use 50 wrestlers. Why are we paying 450 wrestlers when you're not doing anything with them? Just to cripple the industry? The whole point of me in this job is to make sure this company is profitable. And yes, even if you would have kept all those wrestlers, the company would still be profitable. But I want to make it even more profitable. So if you're not using these wrestlers or they're not to your liking, then release them. So they start doing that. And it started about a year and a half ago during the pandemic, the beginning of the pandemic, which was very bad timing by their part. I am not condoning that. But nevertheless, that was one of the factors behind those releases. Even though they made a lot of money that year. Because they didn't have house shows, and they weren't traveling much, and they were saving a lot of money. But the whole point of this company, the whole point of the job by Nick Khan is to make WWE profitable. And if you're not using any certain wrestlers, you can release them. And if you're not have anything creative for those wrestlers, you can release them. Which again, it's not the most popular decision, but it is, by a business standpoint, the right decision. Now, it's not about the talent involved. It's not about a specific name that they released. For example, Keith Lee, EC3, Gallows and Anderson. You know what I'm talking about. Because when we look at those guys, we say to ourselves, man, I wish he could do X, Y, Z, and he could do that booking with that guy, and it would be awesome, and he'll win that championship. We know what it would look like. But the people like Mr. McMahon, Vince McMahon, and John Laurinaitis, and Bruce Pritchard, and Kevin Dunn, they see something entirely different. Like what they did with Keith Lee, when he became Bearcat Lee. Or Karrion Kross, when he wore a helmet. And EC3, when he didn't say anything. I don't understand why Keith Lee became Bearcat Lee. I don't understand why Karrion Kross started wearing a helmet without Scarlett Bordeaux. I don't understand those decisions and I never will, but the bottom line is those are Vince's decisions. Those are Vince and John Laurinaitis' decisions and Bruce Pritchard's decisions. And yes, you can make the claim and argument that those are not good decisions, which I would agree on, but nonetheless, those are their decisions. So the bottom line is, if the wrestler who is under contract can do the job he was signed to do, then release him. I feel sorry for the people who got released during the beginning of COVID and now during these times. But the bottom line is, if they don't fit the mold that WWE has created for themselves, there's no reason to keep them in the company. And it's okay on both sides because, believe me, any other wrestling organization on the planet will love to have these individuals. Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Lio Rush, Buddy Matthews, Andrade El Idolo, Aleister Black, all of them. I'm sure every wrestling organization would love to have those talents on their roster, and by the looks of it, most of them have already found a new home. And I'm sure and confident all of them will. Now, as it pertains to NXT's revamp, the newest edition, NXT 2.0, here's my 2 cents of that. The whole purpose of NXT is to be a development league where the wrestlers finish their tenure in NXT and then move on to SmackDown and Raw. Now, NXT wasn't created by the mold that Vince McMahon wants. It was created by the mold that Triple H had in mind. So that is why 90% of all the people that came from NXT to SmackDown or Raw weren't to Vince McMahon's liking. Because that wasn't what he had in mind for a certain character or a wrestler. Now, is that a bad thing or a good thing? Well, here's my 2 cents. If the only job NXT had was to create superstars for Raw or SmackDown, then they failed miserably. Not because the superstars were bad. It wasn't their fault. It's because Triple H has his own vision of what wrestling should be, and Vince McMahon has his own vision of what wrestling should be. You could argue the fact that you're not agreeing with his vision or opinion. That's okay. But the bottom line is that is his choice. So, after NXT, quote, failed against AEW, Vince McMahon saw it as an opportunity with, of course, with the advice of Laurinaitis and Pritchard, to revamp NXT into something that he could actually call a development league. NXT wasn't a development league. It took people from the Indies and other organizations like Ring of Honor and Evolve and turning into something else. Another wrestling organization called NXT run by Triple H, which wasn't a bad thing. I loved NXT. I thought it was awesome. But if the whole definition of NXT is a development league, with its whole purpose is to have people from NXT move on to Raw and SmackDown and be the stars of the future, and then Vince McMahon nixes each and every one of them, then it didn't do its job. It didn't serve its purpose of being a development league. And that's why NXT 2.0, I want to see the first superstar that graduates from NXT 2.0 and moves on to Raw or SmackDown. And then we'll find out if the mold fits. Then we'll find out if NXT is actually a good idea for us to see the stars of the future. Because now NXT 2.0 is created by, apparently, the vision of what Vince McMahon sees in a superstar. And yes, you can look by some of the gimmicks there that you can understand what exactly he likes. But the bottom line is, NXT in its old version didn't work as a development league because it wasn't a development league. NXT 2.0 could be the development league that WWE needs in order to create the newest stars on the brands. And I'm just waiting to see who graduates first from NXT 2.0 and then gets called up to Raw or SmackDown. And then we'll find out if This is what Vince McMahon is talking about. If he's going to change the gimmick or he's going to keep it as it is, because if he changes it and then it fails, then I don't know exactly what Vince McMahon wants. But if he doesn't, then that means that the idea of NXT 2.0 works. Now, you could put Hit Row as an example, but to me, Hit Row was still a part of the old NXT. I'm looking at the newest generation. I'm looking at Carmelo Hayes. I'm looking at Braun Breaker, Solo Sikoa, Grayson Waller. Those are the guys I'm looking at. Tony D'Angelo. If one of those guys make their debut on Raw or SmackDown and they stay exactly the same, then we know that this is the mold Vince McMahon was talking about. But if they start changing them, then that means that the development league doesn't really work. The concept doesn't work because the whole point of it is to create something into Vince McMahon's liking, so then he will feel the need to put that guy on TV. I'm not playing devil's advocates here. Don't think I'm trying to favor one side to the other. I'm trying to look at the entire picture and trying to figure out what is the best course for WWE. As us as fans, we want to see the guys we love succeed on television and on wrestling, either be it Raw, SmackDown, NXT, whatever. But when it comes to Vince McMahon, he's looking for something different entirely, and I don't know what it is. But if this change to NXT is the first step into the new WWE, into creating new stars that this company vastly needs, then maybe we're onto something. We'll just have to wait and see. So that is my 2 cents. Let me know in the comments, do you agree or disagree with my opinion? I would love to read your comments down below. And that is also our review. Now we would like to hear from you. Let us know in the comments, what did you think about Survivor Series 2021? We would love to read your comments down below. And also, if you want to stay notified when I'm uploading these videos, hit a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification button. And I'll see you next time on another Clothesline review and our little editorial that we added to this review. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.